Chapter 6. This morning's bus ride is an anxious one, and when Jett finally sees her at the stop on York Street, his excitement peaks. She taps on. He studies her face. He was wrong about her. She isn't some stereotypical brooding teen, like so many other not like other girls her age, but rather bright and friendly. She is funny, sunny, caring, and most definitely daring. It was those bullies that were the ones with the problem. They are the ones trying to block out the sun. "Hi, Olive," he says, face full of hope. Olive smirks. "Hi, Jett," she says back, smiling freely. Her lip ring catches the light as she grabs a pole and sits down next to Jett. He notices other kids on the bus stare at them, as a pretty 15-year-old girl sitting next to a 12-year-old boy to whom she is not related snaps the girders of social hierarchy. "I need to talk to you," he whispers. "I need to talk to you too," she says. His eyes widen. "Really?" "Yeah. You still want to help me?" "Yes, that's why I wanted to talk to you." "Good. I may have been hasty turning you down. Meet me at the library at recess, okay?" "Okay." "Wow," he thinks to himself. "That was easy." They get off the bus, and the same clump of bullies walk by. "Hey Lois, can't go anywhere without your bodyguard?" Ghislaine says. Olive turns to Jett. "You know you can legally punch them because you're only 12, right?" "Why don't you try fighting your own battles?" Ghislaine says with her hands on her hips. Without skipping a beat, Olive puts her knuckles through Ghislaine's nose. She follows it with a wild haymaker, connecting with Ghislaine's chin. Olive is shocked when Ghislaine topples over. Right on the button, she thinks to herself. Ghislaine's goons stand with their jaws hanging, and it takes a few seconds for them to rush over to their fallen ringleader. Olive walks away, having conquered the wilderness that skirts the zero-tolerance zone. But first period is barely 5 minutes old, when the students learn that the regime in charge sometimes chooses to exercise its jurisdiction over the lawless lands between the bus stop and school gate. "Olive Farrow, immediately report to Principal Katz's office," comes a triggered voice over the PA system. Jett swallows. When recess comes and there's no sign of Olive at the library, he pulls out his phone and gets onto Raven On. He reaches the contact page and sends through a message, his phone number, followed by the initials JP. In less than a minute, his phone chimes. "Hey Jett, exploded nose equals 3-week suspension and possible legal action. Constant bullying equals sweet nothing. Is the school run by a mob lawyer or something? Can you meet after school?" "Oh no, sorry to hear that. Can't meet. Rugby training," he replies. "Damn. Wendell Preacher, Year 11. He's the one. Delete this message." Crap. Olive was right. What does Jett bring to the table? He's been given a lead. What to do with it? How to even find out who this Wendell Preacher is? He could ask his brother, as Bruce is also in Year 11. But how would he justify that? Then he takes a step back to his first question. What to do with it? So what if he did know who Wendell Preacher was? What would he do anyway? He cares, and if he can bond with people the way he thinks he can, then what? He checks the time on his phone. 10 minutes until the end of recess. He rushes out of the library and heads for the administration block. "Come in," a voice says from the counsellor's office. Thank goodness she's in, Jett thinks to himself. He opens the door, and Emily is just as happy to see him as he is to see her. "It's 8 minutes until third period. I need to know what you do and how you do it," Jett blurts out. "I was about to ask the same of you," Emily replies. She pushes off the lounge and rushes over to him. She throws out her arms, with tears in her eyes. Jett opens up his, and they embrace. It's instant. It's as if Jett's heart shoots out hands of electricity that grab onto the fibres of Emily's. They hold still, allowing golden light to envelop them. This is what it felt like. I remember it like it was yesterday. Emily thinks to herself. They release, but hold hands as they break. I don't know what's happening to me, but you seem to understand. Not exactly. I just know it's possible. How is it possible? The heart has its own brain and generates its own electromagnetic field. That field can be felt even at a distance. You know how you get a vibe about people? This is the vibe, the vibration, that you feel. I never knew the heart had a brain. So we have 2 brains. Actually, the gut has one as well. So we have 3. Now in your specific case, I'm no cardiologist, so I can only speculate, but your heart brain is so powerful, it can alter the frequency of another person's, bringing them into the same vibrational plane as you. But why can I do this? I mean, it's not normal. That I do not know. There is a template for building a human, but we are all born with our own mutations. This is yours. May I have another? Jett smiles and nods, and they hug again. Not very professional, I know, Emily says with a giggle. Well, what do you do professionally? Jett asks, looking at the clock on the wall, aware that he has about 7 minutes left. What do you tell people when you help them? Emily smiles. You really want to help people, don't you? Jett nods. I've had years of university training, hundreds of hours of supervised clinical practice, and almost 2 decades worth of professional sessions. And we have about 7 minutes left until the end of recess. I suppose you'll be getting the short version. Jett nods. So a student comes in and pours their heart out. What do you do? It's important to forge a bond, a healing relationship. That's the healthy soil, for no growth can come without it. Your power allows you to skip that step, so all you have to do is listen. Okay. Any tips? Jett asks. When someone is talking, give them your full attention. When they finish a sentence, let some silence settle and, in that moment, make sure you understand what has been said, and show that you understand. Seek clarification if you must. Nod, reflect their words. This goes for all conversations, not just counselling sessions. Your power allows you to bond instantly. But add in these conversational skills, and hearts will open like flowers to the sun. It sounds so simple to Jett, but then he's reminded of his mother and his Aunt Mabel, his father's sister. Watching them chat is like watching a hijacking get interrupted by a robbery, which is then cut short by a fire alarm, which in turn is short-circuited by an electrical anomaly. Either one will jump in whenever they feel like it, virtually without any concern for the other. Stories are often responded to with, "Oh my god, the same thing happened to me. I was in bar class when..." "Yeah, but you'll never believe what Judy did. You know what you should do? Why don't you just..." "That's nothing. You know what happened to me. You need to get over it." Or, "Well, there's no use crying about it." You know, they should really teach us this in school, Jett says. There's a lot they should be teaching you in school. Now, as you can imagine, I hear some rather unsavoury things from my clients. You will too. What sort of things? Everything. I have worked with murderers, pedophiles, rapists, narcissists, wife beaters, husband beaters, and child killers. You must prepare for this, for a heart-to-heart bond is all siphon, no filter. I have a supervisor with whom I debrief. You will need the same. Got anyone in mind? She smiles, then looks at the clock. The bell for third period will ring any second, so she gets a move on. No matter what is said to you, let it come. They are just words. You must hear between the lines to what is really being said. Look for the emotional content of what they are saying. Help them find it, because they don't know either. Do this by reflecting. I once had a student who had crippling anxiety every time there was a severe weather warning. It turns out that once there was a hurricane with the same name as her mother. Her father once made a joke about how her mother can transform when she's angry. Unfortunately for the student, She never quite processed it, even though she knew it was a joke. But after working through it with her, she recalled her early childhood and that her mother struggled with postnatal depression and used to yell in her face. She could feel her mother's breath, like a hurricane. See, we sifted through the ashes and found what caused the fire. With some group counselling, she was able to share that with her parents. Now, I am proud to say, she is studying meteorology. So, reflect. The more you reflect, the more of themselves they'll see. She smiles proudly as he takes it all in. Look at you. You don't even need words to reflect. You have a superpower, Jett. Good luck. Jett heads for third period, English. He meets up with Rain and they walk side by side. Coming from the opposite direction is a trio of seniors. A tall, lanky blonde boy in the middle of the group, who has always given them at least a sneer, picks up his stride and launches a shoulder into Rain, dropping him to the floor. Jett turns and cracks his knuckles into fists. As he does so, a teacher rounds the corner. Jett and the much bigger boy hold each other's gaze. Nostrils are flared, chests are puffed, and eyeballs are set to burst. The teacher, Mr. Schwartz, a short pot-bellied man who wears a tie for no reason, puts his pudgy hands on his hips. "Wendell, don't you have somewhere to be?" Mr. Schwartz says, in his underdeveloped voice. "Yeah, at least I know where I belong," Wendell says. He gives Jett a death stare, and his friends laugh as they walk away. Oh crap, Jett thinks to himself. That's Wendell. Jett's heart is racing. He is ready to go, and it scares him how badly he wanted to hit Wendell. Not just hit him, but mess him up. Badly. Rain is the most innocent person he knows, and isn't a combatant in the testosterone wars. He offers Rain a hand, and hoists him up. "They're lucky a teacher showed up," Rain says. "You know what he needs, don't you?" "Yeah, I do," Jett says.